because I'm finally back at college. I'm at a new school, y'all. Because I have commitment issues.
Oh, baby, what else can I say? Put on 3 hours and let's baby. I've got to know how much I love you so.
We're going to talk about what books I've been reading this week and the things I'm doing to be a blossoming flower in this new city full of opportunity and love and awesome things. Right now I'm reading On the Road by Jack Kerouac, and I have to say this is one of the best books I've ever read. I think it's just because I'm able to actually read it. Like, I'm a little more than halfway through, but that doesn't happen that often with books. Like, I'll buy a book and kind of like it and then get bored and not read it again for a few months. I have consistency issues, but I've been trying to like read it because I actually really like it, and the way he writes is super descriptive. It's just about the late 50s, early 60s when everyone was hitchhiking across America and going crazy, and that's a time period that I'm obsessed with. So this book has been really cool. I'm also reading the Bhagavad Gita. I've been reading this one forever, but it's more like I just flip to a random page and just read because it has so much knowledge. This is the book of Hinduism, and Hinduism has 12 books, and it is all 12 of the books compressed into one. So you can literally flip to a random page and every page is going to have something eye-opening on it because it's so much knowledge compressed into one book. You gotta have those healthy routines, baby. For me, at least, it's a lot easier to just focus on being myself and really loving myself when I'm in a new place, especially a place like Austin. I've always wanted to live here. Right now, I started a manifestation journal. Actually, my mom gave me this, and it's just like a workout journal, which I have not been working out. I've been riding my bike, and it's so hard because there's so many hills in Austin. I'm that bitch that's like walking my bike up the hill. My manifestation journal, I've been writing like things I'm grateful for each day because I want to be more grateful and like have more gratitude. So like today, I'm grateful for new beginnings at St. Edward's, my new bike, and podcasts. Because today I listened to this podcast about mainstream archaeology versus archaeologists that are just known by the mainstream archaeologists as theorists, and they aren't really taken seriously. His name's Graham Hancock, and he was in a podcast, and he was just talking about how he thinks some other beings were helping the Egyptians build their pyramids and all that shit. And like, he also really believes that like ancient civilizations did DMT just to connect them with another realm, which is where their gods were. And it's just super interesting. So I'm getting so off track, but that shit's so cool. And that there's a whole other dimension, like, where on Earth that we just can't see, and like you can see it or communicate with people from it when you meditate or in dreams or like when you astral project or when you're tripping. We don't know anything. We don't have the answers, dude. If you're raised in a religion, you are a fucking cattle, bro. I just like listening to other people's shit. Like, I don't believe everything that Graham Hancock is saying, but I think I really respect him for putting out his own ideas on what he thinks is going on and like actually being brave enough to explore his own ideas. And I think that's really important. When I say shit out loud, it happens. Even like the negative shit. Like, I feel like I'm a very strong manifester, and I haven't realized that until recently. I believe it will happen. If I just keep writing it down, it will eventually get into my subconscious. And I have all this emotion, and I don't really know how to process it, so I've been working really hard to figure out how to process my emotions in a healthy way. So for me, it's been trying to work out again and doing things like this, writing manifestations. I've also been writing a lot of poetry and just like journaling to get it out of my system, drawing a lot, painting a lot. I'm really trying to make a lot of positive changes here, and it's really easy to keep these routines now that I'm here because I'm not being pressured by being at home and by old people. Also, everyone that I've met here has literally told me like, you have big dick energy. I know. Also, the people here are so motherfucking chill. Everyone here has this like weird vibe that I can't explain, but it's just like everyone here is so nice and considerate and just a vibe. Like, I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of positivity here too. When I write or I draw, I don't even think about what I'm gonna do. It just comes the fuck out. Like, I don't think about it, and I think that's really chill. I like that. Like, that's why I like drawing so much. So like, I did this. This was kind of inspired by like the podcasts I was listening to today. It's cool to like listen to other people talk about random shit, so if you have any podcast suggestions or like YouTube interview suggestions, please drop it. So yeah, and like I filled out my whole August month and like some of September. But the only class that's been posted is my Buddhism class, but bitch, a bitch is excited for Buddhism. And I'm really obsessed with Eastern religions right now. That's why I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita and like studying Hinduism on my own. But I've been saving all this Buddhism shit for this class because I'm like, I don't need to know anything about Buddhism until I take this class. Because I feel like in the West, you know, we are convinced that Christianity is the end all be all. It's so instilled in our culture in general. Like everyone celebrates Christmas, you know, and like so there's so many different things that like we don't understand just because we've kind of been closed-minded towards other religions. People in America forget that there's a whole other half of the world that believes a completely different set of religions and has a completely different set of like social standards, and it's super weird. I just really like Eastern religions and Eastern culture from what I've learned because it's more holistic and people actually are more worried about society as a whole than individualistic, which is what the Western societies are. So it's pretty interesting to like study into that, and I'm really into it. I don't know, I'm just like cultured baby. I'm also taking a bunch of photography classes, which I'm so excited for, but because of what I was talking about, like the photography not feeling like it's for me anymore, I'm definitely gonna be taking a long break from putting my work out there and just like chilling the fuck out and actually working on what I want my look to be, and so that way that the things I put on the internet are things that I actually really heavily fuck with. Like I want it to be my favorite work only. But I want to talk to y'all about this crazy ass meditation or hypnosis experience I had that led me to move here. It was like super hard for me to make a decision, and there were like, if I was seeing like different things that would happen if I stayed home and like different paths I could go down. I had job offers and then different things that would happen if I came here and everything like that. Just getting really confused on what I should do, and it was really hard, and like every single day I was changing my mind to the point where I was just getting so upset and like I was so confused. I didn't know what I wanted anymore. I was just like so upset. Like just thinking about how I was feeling a few weeks ago was like really hard for me to even reflect on because I was just in such a bad state of mind. Like I was so confused. I decided I should like meditate on this, right? Because I was asking all these people for advice about what to do. Like I was asking different people, everyone gave me a different answer, so I was getting even more confused. I couldn't like form my own opinion, so I was like, obviously the only thing I can do now is meditate on it. So I found this like random meditation online that was like a hypnosis for inner turmoil and making a decision, and it was super like, I was like, maybe this will be fine. And I did not expect this to affect me the way it did, but this shit completely cleared everything for me. Like I was so confused. It started where I went in this elevator, and then I was like just getting myself really relaxed, and like I had to imagine going down each floor in the elevator, deeper into my mind, deeper into my subconscious. Sarah Dresser, you were a goddess. This shit was like crazy. So like she got me relaxed enough where like some people, when you do hypnosis, it's like they don't get you into the state you need to get into, or like I guess you're supposed to be able to get yourself into that, but I'm not that good at it. This concept of like the elevator, that shit, I was completely inside my mind. I could feel myself like deep inside my mind. Like I felt like I was in like, you know, in what is that movie? The elevator doors opened and I was in this hallway, and I had to go down the hallway to the back of the hallway. There's this door, and when I opened the door, I was in my safe place, bitch. For me, it's the mountains in El Paso because I just have good vibes up there. I have good memories up there. So it was like, I opened the door and I'm in the mountains, and I'm like, oh shit, bitch, like we know what's going on. Where's the blood? So like then I turned around and I wait in front of the door, and the lady, Sarah Dresser, she's telling me like this door, the people that are going to come out of this door are the different sides of your turmoil, like the different sides of like your conflict. And I'm just like, I don't know what to expect right now. And Jesus comes out the door. I was like, what are you doing here? It was kind of weird. Like I was just like, what? Because, you know, I'm not expecting Jesus to come out and represent a side of me because I really am not like a Christian. And I had to ask him, like, why are you here? What do you represent? And he was like, I represent your need to love yourself. And he's like, you literally just need to love yourself. Like, it doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter if you go to Austin. It doesn't matter if you stay here. All that matters is that you start taking care of yourself and loving yourself. And it was super weird because when he started saying that, like, I started feeling the emotion of, like, self-love and, like, happiness and just, like, wanting so badly to, like, love myself and just, like, be confident in who I am. Just that emotion was coming up, and it was so much, and it was, like, overwhelming. And then I asked him, like, so what would I lose if you left my life? And he was like, if I left your life, if you stopped loving yourself, you would lose success, because you're not going to succeed if you don't take the time to take care of yourself and love yourself, because you're the most important person in your life. So then I'm waiting at the door, and then another person comes out, and it was like this witch in all black, and she's like, I represent your realism and, like, reality. And she was like, reality is it's going to be really hard if you move to Austin. You will have to focus on, like Jesus said, loving yourself and taking care of yourself. But on top of that, you'll have to take care of school and work. And, like, you really need to focus. If you go to school here, you really need to make sure you do good, because you're spending all this money to go there. It's going to be a lot of pressure. It's going to be a transition. It's going to be hard. But she was like, personally, I don't think you should do it. But if you do it, you really need to make a commitment to being the best you can be, and, like, make a commitment to getting your work done and all this shit. Basically, all the spirit guides, like, telling me you need to take care of yourself. Like, bitch, you're tweaking. Like, you need to get it together. I asked her, like, what would I lose if you left my life? She said, you would lose fear if I left your life. She said, you wouldn't be afraid anymore. You wouldn't be scared of making these decisions. It would just be easy for you, because you would just trust yourself a little more. She said, like, if she stayed in my life, then I would be smarter and a little more in control, and, like have a little more self-control about what I'm doing, and not just, like, let myself do whatever the fuck I want. Like, she told me, the best thing for you to do now is find a balance in me. Like, find a balance where you're not afraid to do everything, but where you're not just gonna do anything you fucking want. Then the last person came out. And it was, like, this blue man with, like, 4 arms and, like, a third eye. Like, I don't know. It was really trippy. And I was like, am I on drugs? But I was completely sober. It was so crazy. He's like, I represent your desire. He came and he was like, the thing you desire the most, more than anything, is to grow and expand your consciousness, and, like, just keep growing as a person, keep learning, experiencing new things. Like, that's all you want. That's what you strive for in life. And he's like, the easiest way for you to get out of this pattern that you're in right now and to, like, keep growing and changing is to just move. It'll be really good for you to move there. And, like, you want to move there, whether or not you can admit it, you really want to move there. And I think it's what would be good for you. And then he was like, but you need to listen to Jesus here and love yourself. Like, that's really important, because nothing's going to matter if you don't love yourself. But he was like, you also need to listen to Witch Bitch here, and make sure you find a balance of responsibility and passion, you know, like, make sure you have a balance of things in your life. But he's like, in the end, though, I think you should go to Austin. Just go. Just experience new things. And then the last person that came out the door was literally this little girl, and I'm like, who is this bitch? Like, who is this little 5-year-old girl here? And she comes closer, and it's me, bitch. It's me. Came out, and she's like, you need to take care of me. And I'm like, okay, word, I'll do that. And she's like, you need to take care of me. I want you to be happy. I want you to do what you want to do. I want you to trust yourself. But no one's going to take care of me but you. And I went back up the elevator and I cried. I sobbed my eyes out because that was intense as shit. And after all that, I was like, yeah, I know I need to go to Austin. The fucking 4-armed man told me go to Austin, so I'm gonna go. It completely, like, made me feel like, yeah, I should do this. Like, it gave me so much clarity. I finally had every side of why I was freaking out. But, like, I think I'll be fine here. It's been pretty good so far. Everyone here is so nice. And I really like who I am right now because I'm actually processing and getting my shit figured out. So it's pretty good. If you like this vlog, press that like button